soil is the stuff of life. It's as important as the air we breathe and the water we drink. But all of these three things are inextricably linked. Without healthy soils, we can't produce healthy food and sustainable food. It holds carbon, it helps our climate change mitigation, it cleans water, it holds water, it prevents flooding. It's estimated we've only got 100 harvests left. That's in the southeast, but actually some say it's only 60 harvests left before we can't produce any food because our soils become so unproductive.
Soils are not things that hold plants up. They are the basic substance that nurtures our biodiversity webs, and so they really are important. But make sure the trees are hanging on to that soil.
The health of our society, the health of civilization, fundamentally depends on soil.
We know that routinely we lose 2 to 3 centimetres of topsoil in the fencing area, and that happens every year, so clearly that's not a sustainable practice. We know that 50% of the sediment in some of our rivers is from runoff from maize crops. So again, it's not a sustainable practice. Effectively, our soils are not a replaceable resource. They take thousands of years to be replaced.
We really do need a system of farming and a mechanism if we're going to reverse the catastrophic decline in soil fertility that has happened during my farming lifetime.
To date, we've been, very crudely, we've been paying farmers to destroy the soil, poison it. And I think now we need to pay farmers to do the reverse.
I start from the point of view that our soils are in crisis. I think everybody here has spoken to this. They're declining their capacity to produce the food we need, and in the highest areas of production is moving towards an irreversible tipping point. The proud mission of the Sustainable Soils Alliance is to bring soils back to health within one generation. Soil is the hidden blind spot in policy making. We have standards for air and water, but none yet for soil.
But I think the great opportunity here is for the UK to lead the world in soil carbon stewardship and change farming at scale, not just the niches, but actually all farming systems in relation to the soil carbon and soil fertility outcomes.
This is actually the new agricultural revolution, and we must be there. I would ask our Minister, please lead another revolution.
It could not be more timely that this alliance has come together, because you're going to, I hope, generate the ideas which will provide us with the material in order to ensure that we can continue this work. We may be 30, 50, 60 harvests away, years away from the fundamental eradication of fertility in parts of our country. What no country can withstand is the loss of its soil and its fertility. And therefore, there is an emergency. The signal is at red, the alarm bell is ringing, and we've heard it in Defra. And we have incentivized and encouraged a type of farming in this country which has damaged the earth. If you have heavy machines churning the soil, impacting it, if you drench it in chemicals which of course were designed to ensure that yields could increase, but in the process also undercut the future fertility of that soil, yes, you can increase yields year on year on year, but ultimately you really are cutting away the ground from underneath you.
It's quite fitting, looking out that window, looking at the London Eye, that if that London Eye reflected the size of the globe, the actual soil on the planet is equivalent to 1,000th of a coat of paint on the London Eye. So that just really encapsulates how precious this resource is. We know that every 1% of increase in organic matter increases the water holding capacity by 10 times, which, you know, in this kind of environment that we're facing with lots of dry springs and summers that seem to be happening more often, that would be a real benefit.
If farming and forestry could sequester soil organic matter by 4 parts per thousand, the 4 per thousand initiative, that would totally offset the annual increase in greenhouse gas emissions from all other sources, and we'd stop losing 30 football fields a minute of farmland. Soil is the world's most important commodity. Capital markets price and trade commodities. We could, in theory, drop all farm subsidies by creating a realistic carbon price. Farmers and foresters could then do the rest. Soil carbon could be a 1 trillion commodity market, bigger than oil, and not requiring micromanagement by government control.
And do you think they really can can influence policy. That's the thing that people often ask, does it really make a difference? Bothering to see you.
Oh yes, and the critical thing is that a good argument, well made, has a decisive influence on those of us who are charged with ministerial or departmental responsibilities. Critically, what we want to see is evidence.
I think it's fantastically important to bring farmers and environmentalists together, because I think that's basically what we've got to do, is that food, farming, wildlife, rural economy, we've all got to meet in the same room and discuss this issue to find solutions to the problem that affect all of us.
I think this is the first time that a discussion like this has been held in Parliament, so it's really quite groundbreaking. And to draw all of these extremely intelligent minds together to talk about such an important subject of soil and soil health, I think we'll remember this day and look back on it in a few years and hopefully reflect on how far we've come.
The setting of the first British agricultural policy for nearly 50 years, I think that members of this government and this House have got the ability to set the agenda and the pathway in which I think other countries will admire and respect and hopefully then follow.
I do think this is an historic gathering. I've been coming to the House of Commons and going to the various places, you know, Nobel House and in the old Ministry of Agriculture before that, literally from the late 70s, trying to persuade government to change their policy on sustainable agriculture and soil. And there's an atmosphere here today which I've never encountered before. And I have to say, and I said this to Michael Gove, I've heard a lot of Secretary of States and Ministers, but I've never heard as succinct a summary of a positive action plan about which I didn't disagree with a syllable. So I think that's very hopeful. I think this is an historic occasion, and I think very, very much can come of it. And I think one of the things which is most exciting is that there are so many diverse interest groups here. There's not this old-style polarity of organic farmers in one corner and conventional farmers in the other, because we are all united by the need to restore the fertility of our soils.